Hello, Starshine. My name is Liz and this is my channel, Simsational Stories. If you have not seen my videos before and you enjoy this one, please like and subscribe. And maybe check out my Facebook page where this whole thing began as well. Just be aware that I may be way further ahead there than I am here on my channel, so only look it up if you're alright with spoilers. All relevant links are in the description below. And of course, if you're a Sims player and you'd like to download any of the characters featured in my stories, just search the hashtag Simsational Stories on the Sims 4 gallery. All original content is created by This Is Not Eric. Alrighty then. So, welcome. And what is up, Buttercup? Are you having a good day or a bad day? Whichever your answer, please allow me to distract you from your life and tell you a story. A Simsational story. Before I begin though, I'd like to issue this blanket content and trigger warning. The following story is entirely fictional, comically dramatic, and probably rather ridiculous. All my stories are. The characters are quite often caricatures, the subject matter taboo and or toxic, and the turn of phrase frankly rather faluting at times. I want to assure you now that although I mean absolutely no harm, I completely understand if you feel unable to consume my content. Many loves, and we will catch each other on the internet elsewhere. Okay, so now we've gotten that over with, let's go. Today's story is from Kellyanne, Kalthis and Co. And we're at chapter 1. Meet Kellyanne Kalthis. She's a bit of a party animal, and without a doubt her favourite thing to do is go out on the town. That's one of the reasons she moved to the city. Kellyanne just loves the nightlife. She goes out about 5 nights a week, usually to the same place, and she dances up a storm every time. Kellyanne works in social media, which, by the way, is like the best job ever. She literally gets paid to take selfies, update her social media, keep up to date with other people's social media, all that sort of thing. Kellyanne isn't much yet when it comes to the world of social media celebrities, but she is working on it. It doesn't take long for Kellyanne to settle into San Myshuno. She's soon known as a regular at her favourite bar, the Stargazer Lounge, and although she has a go at all the local bars, it's here she keeps coming back to. She doesn't even know why really, but the place just speaks to her soul and feels like home. Things really began to change the day Julian called her over. Julian Rhodes was another Stargazer regular, and she knew he had a bit of a crush on her, but she'd never really been interested. Today was no different. But he did make Kellyanne turn around, and that was when she saw him. Bjorn Bjerkson was his name, and oh, wasn't he handsome. Kellyanne was basically in love from the moment she met him. He was so cute. He bought her a drink and they started to talk. Julian watched unhappily from behind as the sparks began to fly. She knew that she probably shouldn't be so forward, but Kellyanne can't help herself. She invites Bjorn back home with her that night for a coffee. And they really do have a coffee. At first. Of course, one thing led to another. How could it not? But Kellyanne couldn't bring it in herself to regret a single second of it. Besides, not all one-night stands turn out badly. Kellyanne never expected Bjorn to call her again, but not only did he call, but he called to ask her out, not 2 days after their first night together. He was the perfect gentleman. They kept spending time together, took photos together, and were basically the perfect couple. So when Kellyanne started to feel sick in the mornings and suspected that she might be pregnant, she wasn't overly worried. It was soon, sure. They'd only been together 3 months, but Bjorn was such a great guy. Kellyanne actually freaking hated children, but for Bjorn? For and with Bjorn, she thinks to herself, she could do this. But when Kellyanne tells Bjorn the big news, he doesn't react well at all. For the first time ever, he's yelling at Kellyanne. How could she do this to him? Why hadn't she been more careful? Did she think she could trap him like that he and his money would pay for her lifestyle? Kellyanne was dumbfounded. She'd never dreamed that he would react like this. After he stormed out that day, Bjorn didn't call. Weeks went by. Kellyanne texted and called, but he was obviously ignoring her. She didn't know what to do. She felt like she knew exactly what the problem was because she'd been scared too at first. Kids were terrifying, but surely they would feel differently about one of their own. Maybe Bjorn just needed some time to get used to the idea. Kellyanne gave Bjorn as much time as she could, but eventually she got sick of waiting. She'd looked at his license once when he went to the bathroom, so she had known the whole time where he lived. And even though it was a bit of a drive, she got in her car and drove all the way to Windenburg to find out what the hell was going on. And then Kellyanne found out the truth. Bjorn wasn't scared of having kids. He already has kids. 2 daughters, Sophia and Elsa. Not to mention, worst of all, a beautiful wife named Clara. Bjorn had been cheating on his wife, and she, Kellyanne, was the other woman in a secret love triangle. Just when Kellyanne thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. Bjorn and Clara took her upstairs, away from the girls, to explain to her that the reason Bjorn hadn't called her back was because he'd confessed the affair to his wife, and they were trying to work things out. Not only that, but they'd also just found out that Clara was also pregnant. They were sorry, but they wanted nothing to do with Kellyanne or her child. Kellyanne was devastated. How had this happened? She didn't even like kids, and now she was going to be a single mum? She felt like her whole life was over. What was she going to do? She couldn't believe that Bjorn could go through everything they had together and then leave her like this without a second thought. Had he no heart? Because he had broken hers. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 1 of Kellyanne, Kalthis and Co. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can tune in soon to hear the next chapter. Or like I said, look us up on Facebook for spoilers. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Bye!